Imagine a gesture of trust, so profound, it transcends language, species, and maybe even deep-seated trauma. What if empathy could actually rebuild trust where all other methods fail? Today we're diving into a really remarkable book, Lawrence Anthony's The Elephant Whisperer, My Life with the Herd in the African Wild.
It's such a compelling memoir, isn't it? It tells the story of this South African conservationist, Lawrence Anthony, and his extraordinary journey, his relationship with this traumatized herd of wild elephants, often called rogue, at the Thula, Thula Game Reserve.
Yeah, rogue seems a bit harsh once you understand their story.
Exactly. And this book, it really unpacks how patience, understanding, and genuine communication can bridge that gap between humans and wildlife, sometimes in the most unexpected ways.
Absolutely. And the central challenge Anthony faced in the book was just immense. I mean, these elephants were deemed a menace. Literally, they were destined for execution because of their aggressive behavior, repeated escapes from other places.
It was really dire.
So taking them on was truly like a last chance for them to survive.
Yeah.
And it's all set against this intricate backdrop of post-apartheid South Africa, which, as the book details, just adds these complex layers to, human-wildlife relationships and the conservation challenges back then.
It really does. The book itself came out in 2009. It was a collaboration between Lawrence Anthony and a journalist, Graham Spence, and it just took off, became an international bestseller, translated everywhere. It manages to blend memoir, adventure, and some really critical wildlife conservation themes. It's a very engaging read.
It sounds incredible. And just so you know, you are experiencing a unique two-host AI conversation powered by Google's NotebookLM for deeper, more dynamic book analysis. So given all this compelling material from the book, our mission for this exploration is really to understand how that patience, that understanding, that communication, how it can bridge the gap. Bridge the gap between humans and wildlife, ultimately maybe transforming both species through mutual respect and trust. And you, our listener, you're right here with us exploring these powerful insights. Okay, so let's set the scene for this extraordinary journey. This incredible story kicks off in 1999. Anthony talks about getting this, desperate call from someone named Marion at the Elephant Managers and Owners Association. What was the situation with these elephants then?
Yeah, it was desperate is the right word. Truly a last chance for this particular herd. They had a history, you see. They'd previously broken out of a reserve up in northern Mpumalanga, caused quite a bit of damage, crops, property.
Right. So locals weren't happy.
Not at all. Local authorities had declared them a menace, and, the next step was execution. Anthony was basically their final hope.
Wow. And despite this huge challenge, Anthony decided to accept. What does the book say about why? Why take on something that sounds almost impossible?
Well, the book makes it clear that even though he had reservations, it was a massive undertaking, his profound love for elephants just compelled him. It wasn't just practical, it was deeply personal, driven by this powerful empathy, this belief they deserved another chance.
That commitment is something else. And when the elephants finally arrived at Thula Thula, their state sounds, pretty awful. What was the atmosphere like? For especially knowing they'd just witnessed something incredibly traumatic.
Oh, they arrived completely traumatized and frankly enraged. You can only imagine, right? Seeing their previous matriarch and her daughter killed. The narrative immediately introduces Nana, who had to step up as the new matriarch. And she showed remarkable intelligence and determination right from the get-go.
That first night, that must have been utterly terrifying for Anthony. What happened? There was a key moment, wasn't there, with Nana?
It really set the tone. The herd immediately tried to break out of the boma, that's the specially built electrified enclosure they were put in, and Nana, leading the charge, actually endured an 8,000-volt shock from the fence, but she just kept going.
8,000 volts. Good grief.
Yeah. It just vividly highlights their sheer desperation and their incredible resilience, too.
That's an unbelievable image of her determination. So, Anthony clearly had a monumental challenge. What was his initial approach, given how aggressive and traumatized they were? Did he just follow the standard methods, or did he try something totally different?
Oh, he absolutely went against the grain. Conventional wisdom back then was, keep newly arrived elephants isolated, stick them in the boma for 3 months, no human contact, let them settle.
Right, standard procedure.
But Anthony made this crucial, really radical decision. He chose to live outside their enclosure with his assistant, David.
Wait, so he basically camped out right next to these enraged, traumatized elephants. What was the thinking there?
Exactly that. They slept rough in their Land Rover. And he talked to the elephants, day and night, especially Nana. His belief, and he writes about this, was that these Magnificent creatures were extremely distressed and disorientated. And maybe, just maybe, if someone who cared about them was constantly with them, they would have a chance. It was pure empathy in action, and intuition that his presence, his caring presence, was what they needed most.
And it actually worked.
Mm-hmm.
So after weeks of this very unconventional interaction, something truly remarkable happened. How did he actually manage to whisper to them? What was the big breakthrough in communication?
Well, this is where it gets really fascinating. Over weeks of just patient interaction being there, Anthony started to understand their low-frequency rumbling, those infrasonic
The
calls.
ones we can't really hear.
Exactly. Humans can't hear them directly, but elephants use them over huge distances, sometimes apparently up to 400 miles. He learned to sort of sense their presence, almost feel it through body vibrations. The breakthrough wasn't forcing them to adapt to him.
He adapted to them.
Precisely. He adapted himself to their world, responding with just soft conversation, calling each elephant by name, patiently.
But it's such a profound shift in perspective, isn't it? To meet them on their terms.
Mm.
And there's that specific moment, that pivotal moment, where Nana finally responds to him.
Yes. The book describes this incredible moment. Nana approaches the fence and she reaches out and touches Anthony with her trunk. It's written as just this profound gesture of trust, the real beginning of their extraordinary bond. He talks about feeling this immense sense of peace coming from her. It was a turning point for the herd and definitely for him.
Wow. And once the elephants were finally let out into the bigger reserve, they gradually adapted, right? But they kept that bond with Anthony. I heard their visits to his house were, well, let's just say memorable. Any particular story stand out?
Oh, absolutely. Can you imagine you're hosting a dinner party, maybe trying to impress someone, and suddenly Nana leads the whole herd right up onto your veranda?
Oh, no.
Chaos. The book talks about dinnerware getting shattered, fancy exotic foods just being hoovered up. But here's the funny part. They always left the champagne untouched,
Oh.
apparently.
Selective tastes. That really highlights their unique personalities, doesn't it? And as we navigate these insights, remember, this deep dive is powered by cutting-edge analysis, making sure you get a dynamic and insightful conversation on the book. And the book really does bring these individual personalities in the herd to life. Nana, of course, she's the resilient matriarch. You can recognize her by her single tusk, and later she developed cataracts. What's her journey like in the book?
Her journey is really central. From that initial aggression to becoming this protective guiding force, it symbolizes the whole herd's healing from trauma, really. She just embodies resilience and leadership, especially given what she'd been through.
Then there's Frankie, Nana's sister, second in command. I remember reading she was initially quite resistant to humans. How did her relationship with Anthony change?
She was, yeah. Probably the most resistant of the lot at first. But the book shows how she eventually becomes fiercely protective, not just of the herd, but of Anthony, too. It shows this incredible depth of elephant loyalty, and their emotional capacity. Her transformation really underlines how powerful that consistent patient interaction was.
And one of the most poignant figures is Manumzine, the tragic teenage bull. He was the son of that matriarch who was killed, and his struggle. Maturing in the confined space of the reserve sounds heartbreaking. Can you elaborate on the challenges he faced?
Yeah, Numzine's story is tough. So as he reaches sexual maturity, the matriarchal herd naturally starts to push him away. That's normal. But in a vast, natural habitat, he'd find a bachelor herd, older bulls, a wise patriarch maybe, to guide him, teach him the ropes. In the confined reserve, that structure just wasn't there. So he's kind of lost, becoming increasingly frustrated and aggressive.
Which raises a really important question the book touches on. What are the unintended consequences when we fragment habitats like this? How does it mess with natural animal behavior?
Exactly. Manumzine's story powerfully illustrates those complex challenges for wildlife conservation in these smaller, fragmented spaces. His eventual fate, well, it's one of the hardest realities the book presents.
It wasn't just integrating the elephants, though. Anthony faced wider conservation struggles at Thula Thula. Poaching was a big one, and he made a pretty shocking discovery, didn't he?
A huge betrayal. He found out that the poaching was actually being orchestrated by Ndonga, the head of his own security team.
Wow. Inside job.
Yeah. So Anthony had to gather evidence, build a case, all while trying to keep the animals safe from the very people meant to protect them.
The book also talks about his involvement in bigger projects, beyond just Thula Thula. Tell us about the Royal Zulu Biosphere Project.
That was a really ambitious initiative. The goal is to unite traditional Zulu lands for conservation. Vital work. But, as you can imagine, it faced huge resistance, especially from cattle owners. The book even mentions plots to assassinate Anthony.
Seriously.
Yeah, it really highlights the intense political and social complexities that are just inherent in conservation work. His diplomatic skills, negotiating with tribal leaders like Nkosi Biela, were absolutely crucial to getting any support.
As the original herd settled, new elephants joined. The book introduces E.T., right?
Yeah.
A young female orphaned by poachers. What does her arrival show us about elephant society?
E.T.'s story is fascinating. Despite her deep mistrust of humans, understandably, she integrated into the herd almost immediately. It just highlights the elephant's profound capacity for healing within that strong family structure. Their adoptive, compassionate nature is really incredible.
And the book describes both Nana and Frankie eventually having calves, and they proudly presented the babies to Anthony.
Yes. He describes those moments as among the most humbling experiences of his life.
I can only imagine.
And these new calves really underscore the success of Thula Thula. It became a safe haven, a place where natural family life could start to flourish again, despite all the earlier trauma.
But, as we mentioned with Manumzane, the book doesn't shy away from the harsh realities. His story reaches its tragic end as he becomes more aggressive, more dangerous, lacking that guidance from older males. What difficult choice did Anthony have to make?
Well, despite Anthony's deep affection for him, having known him since he was young, the safety of both the humans on the reserve and the other elephants became paramount. Ultimately, the difficult decision was made to euthanize Manumzane. It's truly gut-wrenching, but it illustrates those complex, heartbreaking challenges in conservation, especially in fragmented habitats. You're forced into these ethical dilemmas, balancing animal welfare with practical safety needs in limited spaces.
It's a stark reminder. The book also briefly mentions Anthony's work beyond South Africa. What other conservation efforts was he involved in?
It touches on his incredibly dangerous mission to rescue animals from the Baghdad Zoo during the Iraq War in 2003. It shows his dedication wasn't confined to elephants or Africa. He was committed to animal welfare globally, even under the most extreme circumstances.
Running Thula Thula obviously was financially draining, constant upkeep, big staff. The book mentions a point where the accountant basically said they needed to generate revenue or think about selling. How did Anthony and his French wife, Françoise Mulby-Anthony, tackle that?
They came up with a really innovative solution: luxury ecotourism. Françoise, being a French chef, well, her expertise was key. They created these high-end accommodations, attracting tourists willing to pay for a unique experience. And that generated the crucial revenue needed to fund the conservation work. Her role in managing operations, providing stability, the book highlights it as absolutely essential. It's a great example of creative thinking in conservation.
Okay, let's shift towards the enduring lessons from this incredible book. If there's one major insight about healing that comes through, what would you say it is? Is it just about time passing or something more?
Oh, it's definitely deeper than just time. I think the critical insight is that trauma, whether it's elephants or humans experiencing it, isn't really overcome in isolation. The book powerfully shows that real healing, real recovery, it's forged through those consistent, supportive relationships. Through genuine connection, it kind of challenges that idea that just giving space heals everything. It suggests active engagement and care are vital.
That's a really powerful point. And it's clear that conservation, the way it's shown in the book, is truly a collaborative thing. It wasn't just Anthony being a hero, was it?
Not at all. I mean, he was remarkable, but his success came through working with people, with the Zulu communities, his dedicated staff, his family, and even in a way with the elephants themselves. It shows conservation is inherently political sometimes. It requires diplomatic skills, understanding local cultures. The book also kind of implicitly argues that traditional African cultures often have really valuable perspectives on wildlife management that can complement modern science. It's about integration.
The book also just provides such compelling evidence of how smart elephants are, their emotional depth, their complex social lives. What stands out to you there?
Well, everything from Nana's strategic thinking when they were trying to escape to the herd's mourning behaviors, their protective instincts. The book just presents elephants as fully sentient beings. And what's fascinating is how much this aligns with more recent scientific research. Things validating Anthony's observations about their communication, their memory, their social learning. It's an incredible testament to their intelligence.
The book's impact and legacy are just huge, aren't they? It was an international bestseller, obviously raised massive awareness for Thula Thula. But beyond that, it left this profound cultural legacy.
Yes, that story. After Anthony died in 2012, the Thula Thula elephants apparently started this annual ritual. They visit his home on the anniversary of his passing, and they just stand there in silence. It's just incredibly powerful, almost spiritual, a testament to the bonds he forged. It continues to move people all over the world.
That story always gives me chills. Truly remarkable. And the conservation work itself is still going strong under Francois's leadership.
Absolutely. Thula Thula has kept expanding its territory. It's grown from about 3,200 hectares to over 5,500 now. And that extra space means the herd can actually breed naturally again after years where they had to use contraception because there just wasn't enough room. Plus, they have other vital initiatives now, like rhino protection and community education programs. It shows a lasting commitment that goes way beyond Anthony's lifetime.
The book's educational and inspirational impact is just undeniable, too. It really seems to have changed how many readers understand animal intelligence and the possibilities for us to coexist with wildlife. It's even used in schools, right?
Yeah, for anyone who appreciates how stories can, bridge divides and expand how we see the natural world, this book is definitely a must-read.
And for those who prefer visual storytelling, it's currently being adapted into a feature film. So that should bring this powerful story to an even wider audience soon.
And, for more insights and to really dive deeper into complex topics like the ones we've touched on today, remember to check out Mindful Moments. That's our YouTube channel. It offers AI book analysis designed to inspire reflection and rational thought.
Yeah, we often explore themes on our podcasts and on Mindful Moments that really resonate with the values in books like The Elephant Whisperer. Things like empathy, communication, understanding behavior, both human and animal.
So, wrapping this up, what does it all mean for us? I think The Elephant Whisperer stands as this remarkable testament to the possibility of profound communication, profound understanding between humans and wildlife.
It really challenges us, doesn't it? Challenges us to reconsider our place in the natural world. It suggests true coexistence doesn't come from dominance, but from genuine respect, from patience, and maybe most importantly, from a willingness to truly listen.
We really encourage you to explore this incredible book further, if you haven't already. Engage with its powerful themes, maybe question some of your own assumptions, and think critically about the bonds we can and perhaps should forge with the natural world around us.
Click the link on screen for the in-depth book analysis. Subscribe, share, purchase via the link if you're interested, and definitely keep thinking critically.